We are just one day away from the start of the NFL season with the defending Super Bowl champion LA Rams hosting the Buffalo Bills tomorrow night. Well, some fans will be excited just to be back in the stadium. This year's trip to the game likely going to hurt consumers' wallets more than usual. Let's bring in Josh Schafer, who's been looking into the added costs of attending games this year. Inflation is everywhere, obviously, but how much worse is it going to get?
Yeah, Kiko, inflation is everywhere, and it's in NFL stadiums, too. So it's really kind of being felt across the board here. We've seen rising prices across stadium food staples like beef prices that are up 10% as of July, and the cost for buns and rolls soared nearly 14% year over year as well. So I recently spoke with Steve Pangburn, the North America CEO at Sodexo Live, and that company operates major stadiums like Caesars Superdome in New Orleans and Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And I asked if we should expect higher prices at concession games this year. Here's what he had to say.
You'll see it in the hot dogs, the hamburgers, whatever. There will be inflation, but you'll be seeing less inflation, I believe, in our venues than you'll see at the grocery store.
And so to expand on what Pangburn's saying there, because I found it pretty interesting, is because Sodexo Live and some of these other vendors are so large, they're able to sort of spread out the costs. So we're talking 10% up in beef, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're paying 10% more for a burger at a stadium, right? Because they're able to kind of order in bulk and really kind of divvy up that cost. And that's something that we've heard. I remember I talked to Rams COO Kevin Demoff back in the spring, and I said, inflation's a big topic. This was in May. And I was like, is it going to hit in the fall? And he said, as a sports franchise, we already feel like fans pay enough. We're going to try to really get that cost down as much as we can. But another thing I looked at as part of this story is beer, of course, right? Everyone always wants to know about beer when we're talking about football.
Is it really $10? We said it's $10.
It's $20 in some places, right? And it seems like cost is continuing to go up there. I know Molson Coors cited that cost for beer was up about 10%, the cost for them at sale last quarter. I would expect some of that, and it seems like some of that is going to be seen in the stadium. So maybe your $15 beer becomes $16. Not crazy, but it adds up, especially if maybe you're the person that's inclined to have more than one Bud Light or more than one Coors Light at the stadium.
Something tells me fans are still going to pay up, right? What about ticket prices? How have they kept up?
So ticket prices are pretty much in line with last year, depending on where you look. So I spoke with SeatGeek. Their numbers are only $2 off from last year. The average price to get into a game, $291. So NFL is still a lot more expensive than we see in a lot of other sports, but that number is up 30% from 2019. So it's in line with last year where we saw the excitement, right, around the return to sports and those types of things. I found it pretty interesting to see it staying in line this year. So it's not necessarily an inflationary aspect, but it is something about consumer spending, right? The consumers are still willing to spend on that big ticket item and kind of go for that luxury experience. I found to be kind of interesting.
Well, and also NFL still, if you look at last year, right, ratings still really high. Obviously, they can command those ticket prices.
Yeah, and the one thing with the NFL, too, is they have the model where you do only go once. There's only 8 home games in a given market. You're going to get people to pay a premium, and they're going to pay a premium for concessions, too, when they go. That's why the NFL's business model is so strong. Yeah. They're not asking us, like MLB, to go more 2 or 3 times a year. NFL just has to get you once, and they'll get that wallet.
Okay. Well, everybody looking forward to that game tomorrow. Josh Schafer, thanks so much for that.